Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Coming up, is your teen on Tinder?
Plus what you need to know about anonymous chatting apps.
And the creepiest game ever.
It really is.
On iPad today.
iPad Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Welcome to iPad Today. Somebody said, Leo, spend some money, get a whole new open now that you put Meg. No, that's all we need. It was very expensive to make that open.
Yes.
So we just redid the Megan part.
Yes, we did. It's enough. It's enough. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank
Leo's
you.
Gone. You were gone last week.
And thanks to Jason Snell for filling in. He did a great job. It was a lot of fun.
He sat right there in your chair.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Well, it was like, which chair should I sit in? And I was like, well, I'm comfortable in my chair.
Yeah.
But he was great. He, wowed us with his comic book knowledge, his Apple knowledge, his baseball knowledge. He has a pretty good job.
He does.
Yeah. I mean, so do we.
He's got a blog about Apple, baseball, and comic books.
Yeah, and then he does a show on TV and.
Incomparable.
TV shows. A podcast on TV shows.
About TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today we're going to talk about teenagers. Now, neither of us currently have teenagers.
This is a good subject, though.
Yes.
You're getting teenagers.
I'm getting them. I ordered them today. They should arrive April 24th. They're back ordered.
With your iWatch.
Yep.
Annabella, your daughter, is 12, soon to be a teenager, and your two boys are 10.
Yes.
So you're headed straight for
collision
teenage
course
zone.
Towards the teenage zone, yes.
And I have adult kids, 20 and 23, but I went through this with them.
And you have a stepchild too, as well.
Actually, Michael's 12, and he's already very much a part of the tech world. He spends a lot of time in video games. He spends a lot of time. It's not so much social media, but it's interesting the way gaming is today. It is social. So he's talking to his friends. He plays Minecraft with his friends. When they come over, they do the same thing. But when they're each in their own homes, they're still talking to each other.
Right.
He loves to play something called Gary's Mod, which is a very kind of fun first-person shooter, Team Fortress style shooter. But one of the things that's interesting is how each kid, separated by just a few years in the case of Henry and Abby, had completely different online experiences.
Yeah.
So I can talk a little bit about what we did to make their experience safe, but also observe a little bit about how they used online, because it really changes, and it changes fast. It's very likely that even when Annabella gets online, it'll be different, and when Milo and Huck get online, it'll be different from Annabella.
Right, yeah, and then there's a gender issue too. I mean, she is already way interested in different things than they are right now. But what I wanted to do is also take the fear out of it. A lot of people are like, oh, Snapchat is bad, Facebook is bad, it's too scary, and it's not. I mean, it is a little scary, but I thought the two of us could have a more sane conversation about what these apps are really doing, what you might really be afraid of, and what is just scare tactics that the media is pushing at us.
It's not specifically iPad specific.
No.
In fact, I wonder, do teenagers use
iPads?
That's
the thing. I think a lot of them are really on their phones, mostly. But, all of these apps are available on the iPad. So if you want to see what apps your kids are using and you want to take a look at them, while you're sitting on the couch, I thought I would go through some of them. And I thought we would talk about three main things that, as far as I can tell, teenagers are doing, the different apps they're using. I think there's the dating app, which apparently teenagers are using.
Blows me away. Because if anybody doesn't need a dating app, it seems like it would be teenagers, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, both of us came, we didn't have any dating apps when
we were fine.
Right, but I mean, I understand that they work for single adults, and they're sometimes a better match than meeting people at a bar or whatever.
So kids can use dating apps.
There's one. Well, first of all, I thought dating apps. There's the commenting on life kind of apps, like Yik-Yak is the biggest one, just anonymous. Like, I want to comment on this teacher, I want to comment on this person, and then there's the chat app, which are like.
And I'll show Snapchat, because I think Snapchat is one that really scares parents, and I think unnecessarily.
Right.
But it's also very popular with teenagers.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a little tour of what your kids might be using.
Yeah.
And what to be looking for.
Right.
Let me ask you right up front, what's your philosophy about demanding the password?
I do.
Yeah.
I do demand the passwords, and just the ability to look at the device when I want to.
Yeah.
Whenever I want to.
I think that's. See, this is something that. Okay, so let me talk about that a little bit, because we had, and I think all teenagers need a safe space to be private, like that mom and dad can't look at. In my day, it was a diary with a lock and key, and there was no more invasive thing a parent can do than to read your diary, right? Mm-hmm. Probably true for you as a teenager. Mm-hmm. What do kids today have that's a private space for them?
Well, that's a good thing, because that was the first argument I had with my daughter. She's saying, well, it's a private conversation that I'm having.
Right.
And I said, well, no, it's not. It never is. It's not with me or with anyone. If you want to have a private conversation with your friend, go into your room and shut the door and have that conversation face to face. Because otherwise,
that's a good
nothing
lesson, isn't
is
it?
private.
Yeah.
We should always have our mothers involved, in a mind when we ever post anything online. That's
Right.
what I always think. So it's not really private. And, that's the thing that you need to learn, especially younger. Things can get misunderstood so much. So if you really want to have a real conversation with someone, have it face to face.
Right.
Not
Everything.
text message.
It is probably a good message that everything they do on the internet potentially, even if the promise is it's private, there's the potential for it not being private.
Right.
I also think, and it starts probably around 13 or 14, that it's important for a kid to have a presence on the internet. If you don't have a presence on the internet, the risk is that somebody else will make one for you.
Right.
And now this isn't super widespread, it's not a big threat, but it's just something to be aware of. I think a great thing for a parent to do with a kid is say, let's set up your first website. Let's register your name. I registered Abby and Henry's names right away as .coms. Let's register your name, and let's create a website. A good place to go, I think, would be Blogger, because it's free. It's easy to use, easy for them to post content. And it's something that Google guarantees they can export from. So even if Google shuts down Blogger or decides to shut down your account, Google Takeout, this is a promise from Google and a promise I trust, will guarantee that they can get the data out and move it to another place. So Blogger would be a great place. You don't have to pay a monthly fee, and they can post there. But tell them, the posts you make here, think of it as posts for grandma. Think of it as posts because really what it's for is future employers. It's for the public. And by posting stuff here, it could start with just pictures, little comments, not your personal diary. This isn't your diary. But the idea is to create a place on the web that is in the web search indexes, so that when people look for your name, they don't find that embarrassing video that kid posted of the fight you had in the corridor in high schools. They're going to find the good stuff. Post it. When you get an A on a paper and you're proud of it, post it. When you have a great victory in your lacrosse team, post it, your little league team. And mom and dad can start with little pictures. But make sure that it's associated with your child's name, and this becomes their public place on the internet. It's got to be clean and safe, and something future employers might want to, because they will see it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think this is really important. Doing it on Facebook isn't the same, because there's no guarantee Facebook will be around or that they'll give you your stuff back.
Right. That's true. I think that Google is good too, because that is what they'll often use in schools, Google Classroom. That's what,
Right.
My kids are making websites using
Already?
basically Blogger, with their school. So
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think when you talked about, this is forever, like whatever you post is forever, I think that is one of the benefits of Snapchat, because
That's
I
why
think
they love it.
But a good benefit. Because I think this generation is like, everything's forever. I have to always look beautiful. I have to always present myself in this way, because it's going to be there forever. But I think that's one of the good benefits for like a self-esteem benefit for kids. So it's like, I don't always have to look beautiful. Sometimes my Snapchat picture, I might, not look great, and it'll disappear.
It brings normalcy back to the net, because in the normal world, you say something to your friend that's gone.
Right.
And they could try to remember it, but they can't quote it exactly. It's gone. But in the internet, stuff stays forever. You mentioned Snapchat. Let's show you Snapchat.
Yeah, let's start.
Parents are very scared to chat Snapchat because I and they, as adults, assume what kids are going to be using it for sexting, for sending naked pictures of each other. And maybe they do, but that's not the primary use. My son, who's 20, And all his friends, that's the primary means of communication. And for exactly the reason you mentioned, it's temporary.
Right.
Now, one thing very important for parents to know, there are tools, Snapchat tools you can install on your phone or on your iPad that will capture images, that will make it more permanent. These tools also have a flaw that they allow others, bad guys, to get access to Snapchat. So it's very important to teach your kids not to use anything but the official Snapchat client. Excuse me. They should also remember that Snapchat does save these.
Right. Yes.
Whether anybody can see them is another matter.
Yeah, I had that conversation with some 12-year-olds this weekend. They knew that already. I took a bunch of kids to San Francisco, and they were using Snapchat.
They were
and someone
already.
was saying, someone was saying, that they just disappear. And one of the other 12-year-olds said, well, Snapchat actually has all of them. They know.
Very good.
At 12, they know this stuff. Now, my daughter is not allowed on Snapchat yet. I mean, she has Instagram, and that's enough for now. And I said, I heard your friends. They were on Snapchat. It's not my, I'm not their parent, but I'm yours. Do you have Snapchat? And she said, no, I don't. And I said, are you sure? And she said, why do you always ask me that? And it's just because, I don't want to have to go onto her phone and look through it, but.
Well, I've seen Henry's Snapchats. They're silly. They're fun. They're little things. Let me show you. This is the Snapchat interface. This is on an iPad, of course. Let me slide this a little forward. And you see, it starts off with the camera. And kids will, you can slide to different parts of it. But kids will start with the camera because mostly what you use is you're going to message something. You'll take a picture, and this is the first time I've used it on this, so it's going to say, will you allow me to use your location? Kids need to be aware of that, by the way. Mm-hmm. It does, in fact, use and send your location. These are filters, just like Instagram or something else. By the way, kids love Instagram also.
Yeah.
Another great one. Mm-hmm. I like this, that Snapchat's being a little bit responsible. If I were driving, it would show how fast I'm going.
Oh.
You can add text as well, and people often do, what's up, dude? That's very popular.
With the kids these days.
With the kids, they love
dude.
saying that. I should probably flip the camera around so that you can. Oh, wait a minute, that's for storying. Did you double tap to flip it around? I can't remember. Boy, you can tell I use Snapchat. What do you do?
Exactly.
You gotta X out of your photo first.
Oh, I already. It's too late. I already picked it, huh? And then now I could send this to individuals. Let's send it to my wife. But notice there's people who need love. Effing done, you need love? Let's send you some love while we're at it.
Picture of the carpet.
Yeah, and then so these are people in my contact list. Mm-hmm. We'll send that. Now it's going to be sent. Now let me show you what and usually it's that. It's simple little dumb things. Let me show you what's in my Snapchat. You can see when somebody sends you something. Notice I have 7 seconds to look at that. Did you see that? Let's do another one. 10, 9, 8. This is what you get on Snapchat. It is not about sending naked selfies. It's about silly little things. Now, I can't see that again. I can tap it all I want. That's gone. Mm-hmm. Now, as I said, there are programs that will let you surreptitiously do a screen grab, so always keep that in mind.
But then people know you're doing a screen grab.
No. So if you do it in Snapchat, Snapchat will say, your picture was screen grabbed.
Right.
There are third-party programs that don't do that. Mm-hmm. So and that's why kids use them. Don't use it. And remember, people can do a screen grab. You'll be warned if they're using Snapchat, but remember, they can do that. You can send text messages. You can send pictures like that. Most commonly, it seems people send pictures with little silly messages on that. It is a messaging program, and I think kids love it because it's temporary. It's going to go away no matter what. In fact, if I don't read a Snapchat, it goes away in a day anyway. More and more people are using Snapchat to do what we call stories. And that's kind of an interesting thing that's going on with Snapchat. First of all, big brands have discovered Snapchat. Snapchat set up this Discover page. And, this is something that's really aimed more at adults. I don't see the kids who use Snapchat as looking at it. I asked Henry, do you ever look at this? He says, he didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
I think brands like ESPN see this as a really valuable thing to do because if you think about it, mostly what you want is just quick hits like, even like highlights. And Snapchat's perfect for something like this, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I actually think this is a good platform for ESPN but I don't think the kids care at all about that.
No. But what's interesting, what's happening with Snapchat is the same thing that happens with Instagram, or any company as, like, becomes bigger.
mainstream.
It's, with Instagram, it's owned by, was Facebook, and so they have this, this more responsibility for
Right.
their corporate side. I mean, for where the money's
Right.
coming from. So that's
so
why you
it's
see like
monetizing,
Instagram being, cracking down
Right.
on nudity, and because they have a big corporation.
My
behind
friend
them.
Baratunde Thurston does a Snapchat story. He's got a story, and what you do is you keep holding your finger on it, and now I don't know why Baratunde does this. I think he really loves the medium. The problem with it is it's gone,
Yeah.
and so he might put a lot of work into some of this stuff, and then the next day, it's all gone. On the other hand, if you're a fan of Baratunde, it's really like integrating into his life.
Right. And how much work is he really putting into it?
Make a good point. So that's Snapchat.
Yeah.
It's really a messaging platform, and kids love it because it disappears.
Right.
And yes, it's pictures. It could be sexting. What do you tell your kids about that?
I tell them, don't ever take a picture of yourself
'Cause it
and
lives forever.
Send it to anyone.
You
don't
lose
ever,
control of it.
It's an awkward conversation to have with your 11-year-old. Like, don't ever take a naked picture of yourself. Just don't ever do it. And they're like, gross, I would never do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've seen you do all kinds of things that I thought you would never do. I mean, it's like it's impulse control.
And I think you can ignore that reaction, because that's a normal reaction, but you do want to get that message
Right.
in their head.
Yeah.
And the real strong message is that picture never will go away, and it will crop up at the worst possible, most embarrassing time. So just save yourself the trouble. Don't.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
and it's not just like posting it anywhere either. I mean,
Right.
it's emailing it to your boyfriend who you think, will love you forever, and he might, and someone else might take his phone, and
Right.
this is all stuff you know. But
So that's Snapchat.
yes. So this is one that I didn't know if people had heard of, Skout.
I don't
It is
know about
like
Skout.
Tinder, but they have a special place for teenagers.
So it's a
on it.
dating app for teenagers.
It's a dating app for teenagers, but I signed up for Skout, and it asked me my age, and just out of curiosity, I said I was born in 2000, which would make me 15 years old, and here I was given all these 15-year-olds.
So that's great if you're 15.
Yeah, if you are really 15, but you should know that there
Adults
might be
could do
some,
this.
adult woman who is not 15 and who is very easy to lie on there. So, you see all these people that I can connect with, and, you click on them and you can see everything, and you can see all their pictures. You can automatically chat with them. You get these notifications here to see
This
who
kind of
checks you out.
scares me
So-
that 15-year-olds are doing this.
yeah, so all these people check me out. If I want to find out who they are who checked me out, I have to earn points. And you get points by interacting with the ads and by
Right.
using the app more often. So, yeah, I mean, I think dating apps are great for adults. And I think, you get to this age of over 13 where, that's you can't have a Facebook account before you're 13 or Instagram. But once that's that magic age where it just depends on the parent to really police it. They're not going to anymore.
We made a strong rule, and if you can force this, do. But I understand this is part of the issue, is that after a certain age, they don't do what you say.
Yes.
But we said, look, you do not communicate with somebody you don't know in real life. Do not communicate with somebody you don't know in real life. We said it over and over again because you can't tell who they are. And then it got to be a little bit like, well, they're friends of a friend.
Right.
Said, okay, as long as you trust your friend and that friend really knows that person in real life. But that's a really important thing to say. And the reason I don't like these apps is these aren't people you would meet in the normal course of events. And that makes me very nervous.
And what makes me a little nervous about these is, there's been a lot of fear of, they're going to meet up at Starbucks, or they're going to, and for a long time that was the fear of just blogging, or, but none of those things were tied to your location. But these apps are. They are tied to your location. They're not going to say
That's
exactly where you
scary.
are, but that's the part of Tinder, that's part of Skout. It's like, oh yes, turn on my location tracking and help me find people near me. Because if you're an adult, in the dating world, that's what you want. You want to find people near you. And so you really have to understand if your kid is using this, just to talk to them about it.
I was really concerned when Abby started using Neopets that she would not talk to adults. If you're an adult, if you're a predator, this would be a great place to go to meet young kids. And she said, and this was interesting, she was about Annabella's age. Oh, don't worry, Dad. On my profile, I'm a 38-year-old guy from Philadelphia. And it was possible for her to lie,
Yeah.
and effectively. And she knew that. She had a kind of an innate fear of that.
Right.
So it was smart to do that. But you can't get away with that on
Yes.
some of these things. You're
Yeah.
sending actual pictures, actual location.
Right.
I would not, if Abby asked me for that app, I would have said absolutely not under no circumstances. And yet Facebook can be used that way.
Right.
Right.
They all, yeah. They all can be used that way. So, I mean, if you're an adult and you want to find a new dating app, or you're,
Do you believe in stranger danger? Believe in it. It's not,
like, do I think it's the same as
not like ghosts.
the tooth fairy? Or I think most people in the world are good.
Yeah.
I do think, but I think, you have to notify your kids that there are some people who aren't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we can dramatize stranger danger, but it's really important. The kids are now, in effect, going out into the whole open world from their bedroom, and you can try to monitor it, but as a teenager, it's going to get harder and harder.
Right.
The other thing we did with the kids, and I think that a lot of parents would find this useful, is we turned off the internet at night.
At night, yeah.
So both Abby and Henry, I bet you your kids were so engaged that sometimes they would stay up till 2 in the morning talking with their friends. The next morning, very hard to get them to school.
Yeah.
And that school day is shot.
Right.
Nothing they learn is going to stick.
Right.
So it really was important to us that they go to bed. Now you can say, turn off that computer and go to bed. But hey, did you ever get under the covers with a flashlight?
Right.
and
Yeah,
read a book
you
or
can
listen
tell
to the
them
ball
to,
game?
my kids have to charge their devices in the living room. Like they can't.
That's a
but
great
is
way to
that,
do it.
But does that keep them from
That's a
getting
great
out
way
and
to
getting
do
them
that.
and bringing
Right.
them back in? No, but you're turning off the internet.
So
there.
there's a couple of ways you can do that. I've been a fan of a company called OpenDNS. It's opendns.com. They have a free parental control application. You can also pay for a more elaborate application that includes things like site blocking. As you get to teenage years, I don't know if site blocking is the greatest thing, but for really little kids, even just what's we call whitelisting, saying they can go to these 5 sites is great.
Mm-hmm.
They even have email for kids that does the same thing, that only Grandma, Aunt Judy, and Uncle Ben can email our kids. And that's nice because you do want kids to get comfortable with the internet. You just don't want them at a young age getting on the wide open internet. But OpenDNS will let you set things like access control limitations. Your router may also have what's called an ACL, or access control list. We use an Apple router, and this was great because you could say, at 10 p.m., disable internet access for these computers, but not mom and dad's, because mom and dad might want to stay up a little bit later and surf the net or watch some Netflix. So it's nice to be able to say that, and it was always fun because about 10 p.m. we'd hear, Mom, Dad, coming down the stairs because they were online.
Yeah.
You could set dinner hours. You could set the hours you wanted. You could say you do the devices by something called a MAC address, which is a unique address that's easily found on all devices. I'll show you how you can find it on an iPad, but it's very similar on iOS. It's on Android too. In almost every case, you'll go to the settings and about setting, and it will give you information like what they call it here, the Wi-Fi address. That's the MAC address. That's the address that you'll set in the router and say, this device with this MAC address, and MAC addresses are funny. They're what we call hexadecimal. So they're letters and numbers, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of letters and numbers separated by colons. That's your MAC address. You'll enter that into the router. I know this sounds a little complicated. It's not. You can do it. And say, so then this iPad has some actual access restrictions. You can even say, Saturday they can use it till midnight. But Monday through school nights, Monday through Friday, I want it off at 10. That is a very useful tool parents should know about.
Right.
And it's per device, at least on most routers. So that's very handy because mom and dad get to surf, but the kids don't.
Right. And of course you can set the settings. You can put a password on your iPad.
You can also use parental controls, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone was going to go in and change those settings.
Well, those settings are not in the iPad. They're in
Right,
the
they're
router.
in
You
the
want to
router,
lock
okay.
the router if your kid's really smart, and kids get pretty smart around 13.
What
They
about
can
like
go into the
a
router.
dual band network? Would you ever use that? Like one
One for the
network
kids,
and one for the adults?
Yeah, I think it's better. These access control lists are really the best way to do this. If you don't have another choice, maybe have a special network for kids. But
Right.
I think that use the access control lists. They're very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next set of apps I wanted to talk about is the just anonymous commenting. Is there a word for these, like Yik-Yak? Like just
Yeah,
going to-
Secret, Yik-Yak.
Yeah.
There's a ton of these. There's some specifically designed for schools,
Right.
where they group geographically all the comments from one school. Yik-Yak's the classic.
Right. The classic. It's funny to
It's
call
one of the
something
problems with
that
these. They're heavily used for bullying.
Yes.
And all the companies that make these products are very worried about this and try to do their best to discourage bullying.
Right, but yeah, so Yik-Yak is just it is designed for schools, and you can show my screen, but I would be careful because it's.
Well, people can yick you.
I said you can show it, which I shouldn't have said.
Look now and
Let's
see.
see,
Do some
I think
quick
it's okay
vetting.
now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's because it's not, and this is really important. These aren't people messaging you. These are all the messages in the area.
Right. So yeah. So I don't even want to scroll so much, but you can, if you see something offensive, you can always vote it down.
Like, how about that one? I like you a lot. Show that one again. I like you a lot, but I'm pretty sure you only see me as a friend.
Right.
Now that's
Everyone.
anonymous.
Yes, but in
it's-
my area, I have
it's
allowed.
in your area.
Yeah, I have allowed. So it was like.
So it's like passing notes in school.
Yeah, there was a comment about the guy at Beyond the Glory, which is a bar over by.
Over here.
Yeah, so it is definitely, and you can peek into other locations.
I could see how attractive this would be to a high school kid.
Right. Yeah. If you want to. Yeah. You're supposed to. It has some rules. Again, it's like these are all guidelines, but no one's stopping. People from joining this.
They have added features to most of these apps so that if there's a person's name in it, it'll say, hey, no bullying, because this is one of the things. Teenagers are cruel.
Right.
And they start using somebody's name and saying, "Isn't she fat?" and "Don't you hate her?"
Or
and this could
criticizing
be
teachers, too.
Or teachers, and it could be completely devastating for a teenager. So these apps worry me a lot, but I also can see why a teenager would want to use them.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you are like in your late teens thinking about going to colleges, there's a list. Oh, what are people like at Brandeis? I'm gonna see what people are talking about. But
there's some even kind of designed for this. There's one called Slam Book that is really designed about slamming professors.
right, yeah, there was a professor that complained like this is beyond free speech because it's just
Right.
this is on the internet for everyone to see, and if it's just one, it's like this. This is what happens when we have nice things. It's like one person has a voice, and
You could see why parents are scared. I mean, I didn't have to deal with this when I had teenagers, and it's gotten more and more scary. You're going to be going into this. I think for the next few years, iPad Today, this will be kind of a running topic as we watch Annabella and then Milo and Huck kind of enter the teenage years and the struggles you have. But I think it's great. I mean, this is what we did when we did Jumping Monkeys, the parenting show for digital parents, is really talk about these experiences. So if you're a parent of a teenager, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And let us know what your experience has been, what tools you've used, what you let your kids do, what you don't let them do. I do have to say, fundamentally, I'm a kind of a laissez-faire parent. I feel like conversation with the kids is the most important thing you can do.
I agree.
And so, for instance, I'll give you an example. Michael, who is playing these Gary's Mod, one of the things Steam lets you do with Gary's Mod is trade items. And as with most games, you collect special items, fantastic items, some of which you pay for. And he does occasionally get as a reward some Steam bucks to buy these things. Steam has a system, which I think is great, that if first of all, I make sure he plays on my account. Now, I would recommend this because as a parent, you will get an email anytime he buys something. You can immediately say, that $150 suit of armor, where's your piggy bank? But you'd also, one of the things that happens is you do meet people online, maybe you don't know, and there is often the option to trade items, valuable items. Michael wants to be liked. And so sometimes people will come to him pleading poverty, saying, oh, I can't afford it. I see you have a great suit of armor or a really cool gun. Would you be willing to trade? So the good thing about Steam, if he's on your account, and I would encourage that, is that you'll get an email before a trade happens saying, this person wants to trade this for your thing. Is that okay? And you as the parent get to approve this. Highly recommend that. Mm-hmm. And then the conversation with Michael is, do you know this guy? And why do you want to give him this stuff? And so it's actually a great opportunity to open up a conversation in general about internet, who's on the internet, what kinds of stuff you want to do on the internet. And the conversation is the most important part, not the policing, but the conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, you have to have that kind of conversation because, like I talked before about Facebook and Instagram coming up with these stricter rules. on, who can, adults should be able to, we should be able to post pictures of, art that where someone's nude, or adults should be able to have these, opportunities, but
Right.
because I don't want Instagram to be my kid's parent. I don't want Instagram to be my parent. I don't want Facebook to be my parent.
I'm with you 100% on
I
that.
want, I
We're
want
the
me
parents.
to be. So it's like, it's our responsibility. Otherwise, the community has to do it, and then adults don't get to have.
We don't want
get
to
be
dumb down
adults.
internet.
Yeah, you don't want Instagram to be a place that's just good for 12-year-olds.
I think you had a couple other apps.
I have, Omegle is my last app.
You found some wild stuff. What is this?
It's a chat.
Oh my gosh! Talk to strangers
It's like
is the
chat,
name of this.
Yeah, chat roulette. So, but again, you can connect to your location with this. So now I am now chatting with a random stranger. So,
Yeah.
hey, random stranger.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
Yeah,
It just scares the heck out of me. But maybe I'm just a.
it scares the heck out of you for.
Though, I think if you need ultimately to talk to your kids and trust your kids. And certainly, if your kids have given you a reason for distrust, if they've lied to you or they're sneaking out of the house and things like that, then it's okay. I think it's completely okay to shut down venues, to start being more restrictive. But my general idea is let the kids use Steam, let the kids use this stuff as long as you can see it, you have the password, you're involved with the interactions, and you use every interaction as a teaching moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately they are going to go out on the internet.
Right.
They are going to be in these environments. Better now that they experience this stuff in a way that you have some control over it and you can use this to educate them, I think.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure I would let them on Smeagol.
Omegle.
That just seems like a very dangerous thing, and certainly not chat roulette either.
Yeah,
right?
chat. Yeah, and yeah, you can. I mean, they can see your photos. I mean, yeah, it is. Conversation is the key
That's the most
to
important
all of
thing.
this.
If you have younger kids, there are contracts. Our friend Larry Magid has made contracts at saferkids.org where you can sit down and explicitly say, I, teenager, will not talk to strangers on the internet or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And at least make that explicit and they can sign it. And then you have something that you
Right.
can use as a way to say, hey, we have this agreement.
Yeah.
This is all learning. Kids make mistakes. They're
Right.
supposed to. That's the job of being a
Yeah.
kid. Your job as parent is to keep them from making permanent mistakes.
Right. And everybody's rules are going to be different. That's the other thing that I've found, that, it's like, well, I'm not letting my kid have Snapchat. Well, I'm not letting my kid have Instagram. And I'm not letting my kid have a phone. And it's like, everybody has to have their own rules.
Yeah, and I would never judge anybody. Being a parent is hard enough.
'Cause kids are different.
On the other hand, I would also say that I worry about the kids who have no interaction with the digital world at all growing up, because what is going to happen when they do?
Yeah.
And are they going to be able to navigate it fluidly and as easily as the kids who are growing up?
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It is. People will argue it's not the responsibility of the schools, but it absolutely is if they're going to have computers
Right.
in the schools. I mean, it is their responsibility for the technology they're giving them. It's important for them to teach them about strong passwords if they're going to be having passwords. I mean, it's also our responsibility, but.
I tell you, if you're expecting the school to do that job, don't. You're making a
Well,
mistake.
I don't expect. Obviously, we don't expect that, but there are some parents who aren't going to, and so they
Yeah.
need to. Just like they teach sex
Yeah.
ed, it's
Right.
the same thing.
Right.
I teach my kids,
The
but
school's the
everybody
backstop.
doesn't.
The school is the backstop.
Yes.
But so many schools are overburdened, have little technology, the teachers aren't trained, and they may themselves not know how to protect a password, how to create a good password. I
Right.
bet you most schools, they don't.
Yes.
And they ought to a digital literacy class, I'm all for it. I don't see a whole lot of those. I
No,
would
well, no,
love
they
to see
do.
that.
They do. They
they do that at Sonoma
yeah,
Academy?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but also at
Megan's,
the school. Kids.
Megan's husband's a teacher there. I'm on the board of directors there. My kids went there. Your kids will probably go there.
Yep.
And it's a private school with a one-to-one program. That means every kid who enters as a freshman gets a computer. And so there is this larger burden, I think, on the school to educate kids.
Yeah. But at the elementary school where our kids also go, they do
all have Chromebooks.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, sometimes it's not preemptive. It's like, oh, something happened and we have to talk about it. That's kind of.
So are they pretty good about that?
Yeah, they are.
Good.
They are pretty good.
Glad
So
to hear
I
that.
understand this is an iPad show. It's not a parenting show, but I mean that's why we launched the new show for the weekend. That's I'm not
The new
the screensaver
Screensavers?
show. So
We will definitely do these
so
topics and
hopefully
others.
we'll
Yeah.
see if there's interest in. I mean, this is
Yeah.
such a big conversation. If there's more interest, that's one of the things I'd like to talk about.
I wanted to
on
do
that
this
show.
on iPad today, though. I think
Yeah.
that this is a great show for that, and I think there are a lot of parents watching.
Right.
And it's a conversation we have to have.
Right, and I know there's a lot of non-parents watching too, so.
So you can
I
forget
appreciate-
everything
But
you've
I mean,
just
we're
heard.
all on the internet. We're all part of this community,
You can
so.
use Smeagol.
Yeah, so and I would love for anyone to email iPad Today if you have suggestions.
What is that email address, Megan Morrone?
What is that email? Is it
You don't
iPad
even know. It's
Today
iPad
at twit.tv,
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
So email if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, if some of the stuff we said is completely wrong or completely right.
Leave us a voicemail?
Yes.
You don't know the number? I don't know any of this stuff. Sarah did all this.
No, I don't know. Well, I'll get to the voicemail later.
Later?
But it's definitely iPad Today at twit.tv.
That's the most
That
important
is
thing.
for sure.
Yep.
And then now you get to talk about some
I
stuff.
get to buy you a new iPad. How about that?
Okay.
Would you like one?
Yes.
Yeah. Or a new phone, maybe, or maybe a new computer, or maybe you just want to take all the stuff that's gathering dust right now in your drawers, get them out of your drawers, and to Gazelle.com, they will buy your used devices, give you good money for it. In fact, if you go to Gazelle.com right now, you can get a quote. They even buy broken iPads or broken iPhones.
That's good for
They're
me.
not going to give you top dollar, but you're going to get something for it. They also recycle responsibly. So here's what you do. Get all those gadgets out. There are $100 bills gathering dust in your drawer right now. Get them out. Go through Gazelle.com, get quotes. All quotes are guaranteed for 30 days. That means you have a month to decide, a month to get the new thing, transfer the data over, whatever it is you need to do. But do get the quote right now at Gazelle.com. Then once that 30 days passes, or anytime in the first 30 days, you press the button, you check out. They'll send you a box with the postage paid. You pile everything in there. You send it to them. They turn it around fast. They'll wipe your data if you forget to. They'll give you, in fact, they will, in fact, adjust your quote. If your thing is worth more, they will adjust it up. I've never heard of a company doing this, but what's happened to me twice now on Gazelle.com, and I love that. They will also send you a check, if you wish, a PayPal credit if you're in a hurry, or if you're a savvy shopper and you spend a lot of time buying stuff on Amazon, get the Amazon gift cards because they increase the value by 5% if you do that. Gazelle.com. You may ask, well, Leo, what happens to the stuff I sell on Gazelle? Well, the very best stuff you sell to Gazelle is sold by Gazelle. They turn it around. They do a certified pre-owned store, which is great for Samsung Galaxy phones, iPads, and iPhones. They have two different qualities. They have like new. That's like new. Just it's as if it were new. And they also have certified good. Those devices will show some gentle signs of wear, probably in better shape than your old iPhone or iPad. But you save even more money. And here's the thing. Everything you buy from Gazelle has been put through their rigorous 30-point inspection to ensure they are fully 100% functional. And of course, certified pre-owned devices are backed by a 30-day risk-free return policy. This is a great way. If you've got teenagers, you know they break their phones. A great way to get a new phone at a reduced price. Gazelle.com. Get paid in cash. It's trustworthy. They've paid out over $200 million now to more than 1 million customers. The shipping is free, the processing is fast, and you can buy too. Gazelle, Gazelle.com. We thank them so much for their support.
I'm going to be spending some time with them. Annabella had.
Did she break her phone?
Well, yes, it was my Galaxy S5, which I loved. I know you're not a big fan of the S5.
Hey, if you loved it, you love it.
But yeah, in San Francisco this weekend, we were at the Sutro Baths. And there's this giant rock, and she was climbing up there. And then she had it, and she couldn't climb down with it in her hand. And so she said to her friends, like, catch my phone.
And they went, what?
Yes, and then the cracked screen. It's so sad.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gazelle's perfect for that.
Yes. It was also going to be perfect when it was did not have a cracked screen, because what she wants is an iPhone 5.
Of course she does.
Instead of the Samsung. I keep telling her that, but I mean, the S5 is better than an iPhone 5 in all ways.
Don't look at me. I get in trouble when I talk about this.
No, I know. Well, I mean, yes.
I was interested to hear you say that, though. I
like the iPhone because now I have a Mac, and just everything is seamless. And
Are
I have
you
an iPhone
excited?
6.
Are you getting your Apple Watch on Friday?
No. Are you getting me the Apple Watch on Friday?
I didn't say I'd get you an Apple Watch.
No, you never said that.
The sad thing is the Apple Watch, I don't understand, but it does not work with the iPad.
Yes. Well, what would it do?
It requires an iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you should be able to use it with an iPad.
Yes.
You can't. You have to have an iPhone 5 or later. We are going to get one. I got one for Lisa and one for me, and Lisa's comes Friday. I hope. It said it would come sometime between April 24th and May 3rd.
I bet you'll get it on Friday.
I'm thinking Friday. And I'll certainly show it to you next week, and we'll talk about it. But it is. You must have an iPhone
Yeah.
to use it. So I'll be using the iPhone for the foreseeable future.
Well, I am getting a Pebble, and that's supposed to come in May. The Pebble Time, the new
Good.
Pebble. And
Those
I'm
work with
excited about
everything.
that. And yeah, and tonight on Tech News, I'm talking to Georgia Dow. I believe she has one. I haven't been able to. She might have a review. Georgia, who was
I
on.
love Georgia.
Yeah,
she
is
is
fantastic.
one of my new favorite tech
So I am
people.
hoping to talk to her about like the psychology of the Apple Watch. Do we really think that it's going to make us stop looking at our phones more often?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little guinea pig in that regard.
Yes, I'm going to be watching. So there is some other news besides the Apple Watch. Have you heard
Is there really?
Yes, some specific
Really?
iPad news.
Is there really? Okay.
Not really. It's true. Let's just end this. Apple Watch, Apple Watch, Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
So have you heard what's going on in the LA school district?
Yes, we've
with
talked
the
about this
iPads?
before. So this was a big story a year or two ago that the LA school district floated a bond issue to raise millions of dollars to put an iPad in the hand of every student in the LA Unified School District. Now, prosecution's going, or at least investigation. The FBI is investigating the former
SEC.
superintendent and Pearson, the company that was providing the educational curriculum, because apparently there's some hanky-panky going on. The bidding process wasn't open. Apple had a little in, supposedly, so they're investigating that. No prosecution yet.
Right.
Should be clear about that. And now the LA Unified School District is saying, we want our money back.
Yeah. Well, first of all, they did not even see the Pearson curriculum before they had.
They approved it without
seeing it, which I think is But yeah, the Apple is the one that got the headlines. It was like they're suing Apple, when really I don't think it was the iPad's fault. It was
Well, let's put it this way: the whole thing was a fiasco.
It was a mess.
So the curriculum didn't work. Teachers weren't prepared. In many classes, they got the iPads and just put them aside. And they were supposed to be used every single day. In many classes, they were used at best once a week. The whole thing was a flop.
Does it
beginning to
surprise
end.
you?
No. I was fairly shocked that they were able to raise a bond issue. For one reason, these were 30-year bonds for a device that will be obsolete in 3 years.
Right.
That seemed like a bad fiscal policy. But also, I'm not convinced an iPad is something that every kid needs. What I do agree with is the motivation here, which is that every kid of whatever means, and there are many kids in the LA Unified School District who come out of fairly poor homes, in some cases extremely poor homes, should have access to digital technology and education, as we spoke earlier, in digital technology. That is important. I don't know if the iPad is exactly the right thing.
Right. It was this kind of idea, well, all these wealthy kids have iPads, so everybody should have an iPad. But like maybe the wealthy kids shouldn't have them either. Like that it was a great motivation. It's true. They have this, so everyone should have it. But I think a Chromebook is better for school.
Pearson had promised. Pearson's a big publishing company, actually formerly my publisher.
And mine when we did the
too.
books together.
Right.
Yes.
So Pearson Q'd published our
Peach
you
Pit.
did the,
And then
Peach Pit, was it? Yeah.
It was
You did the 2003 almanac, 2004. I can't remember.
It was one of those.
One
it was
of
either
them.
3 or 4.
Well, we'll have to drag it out. I'll get you to autograph it for me. I have them all. I have a little shelf in my office of all my books.
Right. I think it was
Yay big.
2004. I don't know. It was when I was on maternity leave.
Oh.
That wasn't it?
Maybe it was.
I think it was. It
yeah.
was how I transitioned away from.
So I think the people at Pearson are good. I like them, but apparently they sold a bill of goods to the LA Unified School District, and the curriculum never really was complete. It didn't do what it needed to do. And I'm one of those people, and I know your husband feels this way too, who really thinks that a teacher does best teaching one-to-one, not using. But at the same time, we do need kids to learn digital technology.
It is the way of the world. It is
Yeah.
the future. I don't know if the iPad is the future for schools, but it is the future. And so, but they need more help integrating it
Right.
into the classroom. And that's
Right.
what they weren't getting.
Exactly.
And plus there's all this shaky kind of, who, like, did they look at anything else? Did they,
Right.
was
You
it?
can't dump computers on a classroom and on a teacher and say, here, you got what you need.
Right.
See you later. And so much of the time that happens, even with Silicon Valley helping schools
Right.
get digitized. The big key part is getting the teachers trained so they can use this stuff and integrate it, and let teachers teach, because
Yeah.
that's what they're good at.
Well, I drive a carpool for soccer practice, and there was a school in town that has iPads, and I asked one of the girls, I was like, so what are you, I just wanted to know, what are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? Are you allowed to take pictures? And she said, well, we were told we were not allowed to take pictures on there, but everyone does, and no
Yeah.
one says anything. And I was like, that is the problem right there. Like,
Yeah.
you make rules, but you don't enforce
Well,
them.
you can't give a kid a camera
Right.
and
then-
say, oh, and whatever you do, don't take a picture with it.
Right.
How is that going to work?
Yeah, we
Put a
have
little
to,
piece of tape over it.
We have to solve this problem. You and me, Leo. EdTech is another thing that we could talk about on our variety show.
It's funny because I think everybody would expect me, and I serve on the board here, to go in there saying you got to do more technology. And in fact, I'm saying, the problem with technology moves way too fast.
Yeah.
What we should teach kids is the fundamentals, not just reading, writing, arithmetic, but creative thinking, constructive criticism, critical thinking, so important. All of those things will be good. Whether they can use Microsoft Word or not, and whether they'll ever need to use Microsoft Word is really moot.
Yeah.
They need to know all of these important eternal skills, but I think a familiarity with a computer is absolutely important, and particularly for poor families that can't afford computers at home. We've got to figure out a way to get them access to this stuff. Otherwise, it won't break the cycle, right?
Right, yeah. So the Chrome update for iOS, have you updated your iPad yet? For if you use Chrome on your iPad, way better than Safari.
Really? I like Safari.
You do?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest problem for me is since links are going to always open in Safari, I don't want another browser on there because I'm going to be using Safari half the time at least anyway. I rarely just open the browser and surf. It's almost always because I click the link in Twitter and it opens the browser. So I don't bother putting Chrome. It's funny because I do use Chrome on other platforms, but on the iPad, I say
well, there was
so what did they do?
There was 3 updates. One, they made it easier to integrate your LastPass or your 1Password.
I like that.
So
you
use it in the share button.
Yeah, but you could do that with Safari before, so that's a catch-up thing.
If you're already using Chrome.
If you're already
that is a catch-up thing.
Yeah.
Do you ever use the Today view on your?
Let me just show you real quickly so people know what we're talking about.
Oh.
So here you are in your browser, and you want to log in somewhere. It's counterintuitive, but it's the only way LastPass could do it. You press the share button, right? Wait a minute, I'm not going to share. And then you scroll over, you hit the triple ellipsis, the ellipsis for more, and you can use LastPass at this point as one of your share activities. So now LastPass will show. Let me do that again. LastPass will show here, and if there is a password, you can unlock LastPass. Of course, I'm not going to right now, but you can do it. I like it with Touch ID.
Yeah,
if you have
I do like
Air
that
2.
too. Yeah, I do.
You can unlock it and then copy the password. So that does make it a lot easier. That just means Chrome. That's in Safari. Chrome is now adding that feature, which has been in Safari for some time.
Right. The other thing they added you can add a Chrome widget to the Today.
Again, this is catch up, but this is why you know what? Now maybe I'll think about using Chrome.
Okay, I've convinced you.
Because now Chrome is getting a little more parity with Safari.
Right, so you could just open a new tab right away like that, or from the Today Today show, you can do voice search. I like the voice search better than Siri. I
do agree with you, and that's huge because before you had to launch the Google app and do it in there. So now it's in notifications.
Yeah, I did a little
I'm amazed Apple let them do that.
Yeah.
Now I'm downloading Chrome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's huge.
There was one extra update on the iPhone, which was cool, but it's not on the iPad. Is you can just you can swipe to close a tab or swipe to open a new tab, but that's just on the iPhone, not on the iPad.
Very nice. So
but you can hear all about that on i5 for the iPhone this week on Wednesday.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Downloading Chrome as we speak.
I think
that by itself, that one feature that I can do Google Now search in notifications, worth it.
Yeah, so
That's
update
great.
your Chrome if you use Chrome. One more piece of news, you can play Halo on your iPad now. I never played Halo, did you?
Are you kidding?
So you
yes,
can
you
play
did. You don't remember that? On the screensaver
Did I play
set?
Halo in the
Don't you remember during commercial breaks, Kevin, Prager, Fufu, we would all have Halo.
I remember watching you, yes.
You didn't get to play?
I was never allowed to play. You were
You
like,
never
no,
played.
you can't, you're a girl.
So we'd play Team Halo during a live TV show, during the commercial breaks. We were so addicted that we would, and I'm standing on the set at the main thing there, Patrick's over there, and I've got Halo running, and Dan Howard and Fufu and
Dan was Fufu.
Dan Howard and Fufu.
That's the same person.
And the Kevin Rose, the Dark Tipper, and we're all shooting at each other.
I didn't say I never heard of Halo. I said I never played. And you would have let me play. It just wasn't it. No, I wasn't.
You would have played.
No, that was Morgan probably.
Morgan probably played.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is the one with the blonde hair.
But yes, so this is a fond memory for a lot of gamers.
Now you can play on the iPad.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think it's $5.99. Not sure about that. Will you?
No. You know why? Because it makes me queasy.
Oh.
I tried it on the iPad. For some reason on this computer screen it didn't bother me so much, but I start playing on the iPad or my Xbox, and There's something about it. It's just to be moving around. I don't know.
Huh. That's all the news I've got.
Maybe I'm old.
No.
Well, if the news is over, then what do? You have to tell people how to get this show or something like that. I'm only dimly remembering it from when Sarah used to do it. It's only a couple of weeks ago.
You can get the show at twit.tv. You can subscribe to the show using iTunes or Feedly or any.
There it is,
yes.
twit.tv/IPT.
And yes, we record live at live.twit.tv at 12:30. I'm in this chair at 12:30.
Leo's here
Pacific.
12:35.
Yes.
After I snarf
Talking
some
about
cold
stuff.
cuts.
Yes.
And that's 3:30 Eastern time. 20. Oh my God, I got to do the math. 22:30 UTC.
Right. And you can watch it on YouTube.
YouTube.com/iPad today.
Well, should we do some email or do we have something else we need to do?
I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay, well, I have an email. I haven't even read it to you at all. But
Surprise me.
last week when Jason Snell was here, we talked about The Simpsons.
Not tapped out. The Simpsons TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, on FX Now.
Yeah, well, we talked about how they're not making the DVDs anymore. Some people still watch
Who
DVDs.
cares?
I do. Well, that's how I watch them because I'm a cord cutter. I don't
They
have
don't
FX.
make the video cassettes anymore either.
What? What about Beta? They have it on
DVDs.
Betamax, right?
You know that you could see every episode of The Simpsons
On FX, if I had cable, but I don't.
on your iPad.
But you have to sign up through a cable company, and I do not have cable, and I am a cord
You have-
cutter.
'cause you
And
live in the country,
So
though,
yeah,
also.
so.
Could
well,
you
just 'cause I
get
don't-
cable if you
I
wanted?
could get, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't live that far, but I just don't want cable. And I can watch everything else. But so Jared wrote in to tell me you can buy them on iTunes.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's great. It's
Not every
$1.99 per episode,
Yeah.
and they still have the ads in them. That's like 15 minutes for $2.
That's expensive.
I like The Simpsons, but not that much. So yeah, I mean, I guess you can watch it on FX on your iPad, but if anyone has a cheaper way without ads, that was what was crazy to me.
That is sad. So FX Now, but you have to have a cable
Am I the only one who
subscription.
doesn't have cable?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, because that's great. Because every episode, remember they did the Simpsons marathon. For a while, I was DVRing them until I filled up a 3 terabyte drive with hundreds of Simpsons episodes, and I realized, oh my God, they've been doing this 21 years. I cannot DVR all of
Yeah,
these.
you can't.
Thank goodness they now stream them all on the web and on your iPad. You need the FX Now app, and yes, sad to say, your cable company has to cooperate. That means when you first get the FX Now app and you sign in, you'll have to find your cable company. In my case, Comcast Xfinity, the finest company in the world, and it will actually pull you to their website where you'll log in. Once you log in, though, every Simpsons episode ever, and there are no commercials as far as I know. Just
Because you already paid for the.
I don't know. That's
they're
odd
in the
that
app.
there's commercials in the iTunes
Yeah,
version.
and for $1.99. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Although it's fun, some of the really old ones, to see the old commercials.
Yeah. Well, it is fun to
The
watch.
things
from the
we
very
bought in
beginning.
those days.
Well, yeah, that
Okay,
was-
good tip, though.
Okay, so thank you for
Digital
writing
versions
in.
are
If
available. Did
anyone
you
have-
download? You know what happened this week?
What?
Star Wars.
Yes.
Did you get all 6 episodes?
I did not. I wanted to for my boys, and they were kind of like, eh. And
They
then
don't
I just
care?
got sad.
I know.
They're excited about the new one. I'm
Are
excited
they?
about the new one.
But I think kids today, they don't know from Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was really people who grew up in the 70s. 1977 was the episode 3, the very first Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, is that confusing.
It is confusing.
A New Hope. And anybody who was in a formative period in 1977 will never forget that moment, right? I mean, that was a really critical part of our evolution. So the ability now to get it. Now, a couple of things I'm going to say about this.
Okay.
First of all, you can buy it on iTunes, but you can also buy it on other sites. Vudu, Google has it, and Amazon has it. Here's something interesting. There's a site called Disney Anywhere. Walt, the Disney
We talked
company
about that
does this.
here. You and I did.
Did we talk about
Yes,
this?
because you could buy it and then have it.
Oh, so we already had this conversation.
No, but not about Star Wars. I didn't put those two together. Disney, Star Wars. Ah!
So don't buy it from Disney. Now, this is really weird
Okay.
because Fox has the rights to the first movie, A New Hope, Episode 3. That's confusing. So how many times do I have to say that?
It is.
4. Episode 4. Now, see, I'm confused. So Episode 3 is the one they're making right now. So episode 4 which is the very first movie, is owned by Fox, and Disney doesn't have the rights to it. But if you buy it, and I think you would normally buy it on iTunes. So if you buy it on iTunes, the only place not to buy it is Disney or Amazon. But if you buy it on iTunes, you could buy all 6, including A New Hope, and then sign in at Disney Anywhere and attach them. You can attach your iTunes account and attach your Amazon account, and now you'll have it on all of them.
Okay.
Which is amazing.
That is amazing.
So you can buy it, and you don't. So that's the reason to buy it on iTunes or Google or Vudu.
Okay.
Having said that, it is the Blu-ray version. As far as I can tell, it's the Blu-ray version, which is the most recent, but very much unlike the original movie. And in fact, there's a whole movement to create the original Star Wars,
heard of
recreate
this.
it. What do they call that, John? The original one, or Burke? Do you remember?
Was it the guy's name that's doing it?
Yeah, well, it's the guy's name, and it's the anyway. Are they making episode 7? I thought they were making a prequel to A New Hope. It's 7.
Yes.
So will they
7.
ever make 3?
They're going to keep making them for the rest. They're never going to stop.
It has to be a sequel, not a prequel, because Luke Skywalker's in it, right? He wasn't even born in episode 3.
And we know how well the prequels worked out.
Wait a minute, episode 3 has been made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have been made.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7.
In the order 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. 7 is the next one. I'm
it's
sorry.
like we have these things in our ear. You could secretly tell us, and we could pretend.
Don't
like
email
we
me.
just know.
Don't email me. Leo, I think if you really were
it is
a fan,
upsetting.
you would know that episode 4 was the first movie.
We saw. Do you remember when we saw it in the theater in San Francisco? And the first prequel.
We all went to see
Yes,
it, didn't we?
we did with Morgan, and then
Wasn't that fun?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the
Very
movie wasn't
exciting.
fun, but the experience before was fun.
That was the Jar Jar Binks moment.
Yeah. But yeah, I am excited. I'm excited about the new ones. I'm excited about the BB-8. He is the droid I've been looking for my entire life, the one with the spinning head. And Padre and Brian said they're going to make one.
A BB-8?
Yes.
They're going to make a BB-8?
Yes. On your dime, Leo.
Wow, it's about time. So, yeah. Anyway, I was excited that was out. We immediately bought them. And you're right, Michael, 12-year-old, I've seen it.
Well, they've seen them all.
I don't care.
But then, it is not just
so
people.
Lisa and I watched all 6.
Yeah, I have a very strong memory of waiting in line for Empire Strikes Back in 1980. That's my
Wait a minute,
first.
let me see if I can do this right. Episode 5. Yes? Okay.
It's okay.
I just keep waiting for Captain Kirk to show up, and it's just very puzzling to me.
It is.
As long as I'm going to get the email, I might as well get it all.
Right. So I'm excited. But even, our friends that work here, Zach, Brian, those that weren't alive, they still have, that generation still appreciates the Star Wars. That
They love the Star Wars.
Right, Zach?
Right.
All right, so I had another email that
BB-8 writes from a galaxy long ago and far away.
I've gotten a lot of questions about where we got these iPad stands.
We love these stands, and they were just sent to us by a company that makes them. Do you know the name?
No.
Float. F-L-O-T-E.
Float.
Your pad.
F-L-O-T-E.
Float your pad.
yourpad.com. So I'm sorry, floatyourtablet.com. F-L-O-T-E-Y-O-U-R tablet.com. Now, I don't think they make a black one. We painted these black because they were silvery. But I love these. They move around. They're they're perfect
like
for, if you're doing a TV show about iPads, couldn't recommend them more highly.
Yes. And Gina writes,
There it is.
oh.
Float your tablet, and then float is spelled F-L-O-T-E. We actually have the long-armed one. That one's wild.
According to the chat room, make.com already has someone who made a BB-8. So
Oh, well, that's probably why we're doing it, because we're copying Make.
They had the idea right away.
Okay.
Patrick Delahanty had the right away. It was right after he was announced, so he had the first idea. Gina writes, you had a word game as an app cap today. I think that was the word whiz.
Word
You remember
whiz,
that?
yeah.
I went back into the mailbag to find
Yeah,
this.
those guys are fans.
Yes, I'd like to point you to another interesting word game called Cat Key. It's
I love word games.
Q-A-T-Q-I, and I downloaded it. So thank you, Gina. I haven't played it, but if you like word games,
Getting it right now.
interesting to you.
Q-A-T-Q-I.
Yes, there it is on my screen. We can start the tutorial. It looks really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, Q. Did you get
Love
it?
those word games. Getting it from Z Workbench.
Yes.
Z Workbench. Cat key or cat chi.
Catchoo. I don't know what to do with a Q without a U. It's just blowing my mind. What do you do without a Q? A Q without a U. You want to listen to a voicemail?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Leo. Goodbye, Sarah. This is Bruce from Clovis, California. I'm always a week or two behind in listening, so just heard that Sarah was leaving. Sad, but we'll miss you. My question was, I have never, although I've been listening for a long time, heard why you howl at the end of the show. I have to say that the howling when Sarah is not there lacks something. But anyway, just wanted to know why the howling. All right, bye.
You know, I don't know the answer
I
to
played
that.
this because I have to admit I feel a little awkward with the howling. I don't know where it comes from either.
We're dropping the howling.
Okay,
The
good.
howling went with Sarah.
Okay, good.
We should explain Sarah got a great job. We're very proud of her at TechCrunch. The commute from San Francisco to Petaluma was just driving her nuts. And she can walk to work now at the TechCrunch offices. She's running TechCrunch TV. And I think we're going to see a lot more of her on their page. Unfortunately, it makes it impossible for her to do this show, which is great because lo and behold, Megan Morrone is here. And I'm really thrilled. I've worked with you as long as I've worked with Sarah, so we're really happy. And of course, you have kids, you have an iPad. That's all that matters. She had cats.
We miss Sarah.
But
and
I
worked with Sarah too, and I loved her, and
I
I
love
think
her.
she's happy where
She's doing
she
great.
is. And but yeah,
In
the
fact, she's
howling.
going to be back for the new screensavers. She'll be part of the new screensavers
Yes.
from time to time. But don't know where the howling came from.
Okay, but we don't have to do it anymore.
I think we should find another thing.
Okay.
Because I think he's right. It just doesn't have the same oomph without
Yes.
Sarah. She was apparently a very good howler.
Yes.
You know what we still do? Or do you have another email?
No, I have nothing else. What do we still do, Leo?
Silly hats. This we're never stopping. It's
No.
time for our App Cap Awards. We put on silly hats to honor our favorite app of the week. And as always, ladies first. Megan.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is not a new app. Was that a requirement? Because this is not new, but I really
not
like
a
it.
requirement.
It's new to me.
Yeah.
It's by Simogo. We've talked about their apps before. Device 6 was by Simogo. This is called Beat Streak.
Beat
Bandit.
Streak. I like how we don't actually have to have a camera on you.
Yeah, just show me right
Yeah.
in there.
This game is only playable with the sound switched on.
This is a game. It's a puzzle game. It's a run-around crazy game, and it's a rhythm game. You have to tap with the
Oh,
beat.
wow.
So
I'm going to be terrible at this.
you don't have rhythm?
None.
Oh, really? Okay, so all the clocks in town have been stolen.
Oh.
And you have to get them
Oh.
back. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
So you have to tap
This
along.
looks
I don't
like
have
fun.
great
I've never
rhythm
even
either.
heard of this.
I love Simogo.
Tick.
So here-
Okay, listen.
okay,
Tick, tick.
He only will jump if you can get to the rhythm.
But you apparently can't.
There, I got it. Come on. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got to get the stairs.
Wow.
Certainly can't talk and have rhythm at the same time. Oh, and then you can answer the phone to get a hint.
Did you know I've designed every room in this mansion so that you can't lock away or miss a big clock?
Okay. Thank you. And
When times are tough and things look impossible, I try to remind myself of that.
right.
So in other words, you can get every level you can solve.
Yeah, and you can. Yeah, it'll tell you. Do you want to skip this? You look kind of.
So we're in a room. There's a clock hidden.
I
Actually,
gotta jump up the
I
stairs.
see several
I
clocks,
don't want
right?
to jump. Oh, I fell down. And then you have to. There's also police. That
Turn
you
up
have to
the audio because I want to hear the beat.
Okay.
I'm tapping my foot.
Oh, I'll get my hat out of there.
This is fun. The kids would like this.
Yes, my kids do like it. Oh, okay. So I have to wait because I don't. Oh, I fell off. How did I fall?
I get the idea. I can
do.
see you're terrible at it, but
I'm terrible
Milo
now.
and Huck are probably
There's the
great at
clock that I
this.
want to get there. Okay, it's going to remind me of something again. Okay.
incoming call. Did you know I've
Yes,
designed this?
I
Yeah,
already
we
knew that.
yeah, we knew that. Yeah. This is hard because you got to do it in rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Tap your toes and make it easier.
Okay. And tapping my back and forth too. Okay, I don't know what that is.
I feel like this is Whiplash, and you're dragging the beat.
Yeah.
Not my tempo, Ms. Morrone. Not my tempo.
There we go. There
You
we
are
go.
the worst. You'll never be in my jazz band.
But I don't want to go because I don't want to fall off there. There must be a way to turn around.
Wait till
Both things go.
both things go. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it doesn't work. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no!
Okay, that's.
You get
enough.
it?
Yeah. That looks like fun though. I'm actually going
It
to
is
download it.
fun. It's gonna give me another reminder. Your game is a lot like this, only a lot creepier and weirder, and
It's-
you don't need to know
It's
how to
creepier
dance.
than J.K. Simmons in a band contest. This is from Amazon Studios. So Amazon has created some game studios. Just as they're making new TV shows, they're making new games, and this is, I think, undoubtedly the scariest game you will ever play. Now, kids, the reason I brought this today is because teenagers love to be scared.
Right.
Right? That's when you go to horror movies, is as a teenager.
Right.
I don't know why. I think it's maybe because your date might scream and leap into your arms. But nowadays, if you don't need to go see The Bride of Frankenstein, you can play Lost Within. The premise is you're a police officer. Let's tilt this so that you can see it. And you are lost within an abandoned insane asylum. There are some people in there with you. You're trying to get everybody out. 24 hours from now, the asylum is going to be demolished, blown up for a hyperspace bypass. So you've got 24 hours to get the people out of there. There's a little kid's voice, there's a woman's voice, and there seems to be a monster in the basement. Okay, now warning, the truth is I haven't gotten anything that's actually like violent or anything. It's just scary. But maybe you cover the eyes of the smaller children amongst us. One thing I do like about this, it will save your game. So I played this at home on my iPad, and when I came into at work, it saved my game where I left off. That's a good thing. Okay, we're on chapter 2, I think, of this game. Yeah. The kid warned me a monster was coming and I should hide in a locker. I don't know what was crazier, that I got in the locker or what happened next. It was terrifying. There's something in here. It doesn't sound human. Shall we continue? They also recommend that you wear headphones. There's a lot of left-right stereo on here, and I can walk. This is where I've already been, so you can see my footsteps. You're not. Where's the sound? There we go. This is the creepiest place ever. Navigation is great. You just tap where you want to go.
What the hell was that?
Who's that little boy? Hide. Oh, here comes. Oh no. Oh. Yeah. Okay, that's why I'm back at chapter 2. I have to run. Get out of there, Pearson. Okay, so I
think
died.
It'd be cool to have that game with the music from my game.
Da-da-da-da-da.
You should try to play the game
The
by
spray
just
paint
tapping.
is cool because you can spray paint the ground and it'll tell you where you want to go. There's graffiti on the walls. There've been some bad people in here. And there was something odd going on in the asylum. Some sort of dangerous research. First of all, let's find a locker. Is there a locker? Because I need to hide in the locker when the monster comes.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Oh, no.
The hell was that?
No, don't go that way. Here, go. Hide in the locker. Good. Hide in the locker. Hide in the locker. Oh, whew.
Oh, you are good.
This is the scariest game you will ever play. Apparently the monster is dumb, though. Can't figure out how to work a locker. Hurt locker. Successfully hid from in a locker. The kid will tell you when to get out of the locker. Can you see this, or is it too dark? It's really dim. Let me turn up the brightness.
I would just stay in the locker.
I should just stay in the locker, but it wouldn't be much of a game if you stay in the locker, I think, is my suspicion. All right, let's continue. So he's still out there, whatever that thing is. Should I leave the locker? No, I'm going to wait till the kid says it's safe.
Oh, the kid tells you it's
Oh, yeah, the kid's kind of my helper here.
Is it like the kid in the Shining?
$7. It's not a cheap game. It is
$6.99.
much like the kid, Red
In the
Rum,
yeah.
in the Shining. But the inhabitant can sense you if you are nearby. It is a really atmospheric game with a lot of interesting stuff to explore and a serious mystery to solve. So there's another locker. Keep an eye on where the lockers are. You'll see things glowing when you can pick them up or
typewriter.
read them. I've picked up a few things in my inventory. I've got some wire and stuff. So it's an adventure game. I've got a key.
What's on that typewriter? Is there a message?
Yeah, it's not. I can't read it, so there's nothing important there apparently. Let's go in here. I do like the way that this is. You know, a lot of times games like this, which are ported from PCs, the navigation is not great. This is very simple. It's very iPad friendly. I just tap where I want to go. The madmen saw through walls. Ooh, I don't know what that means, but I bet you it's a clue. Did you hear that?
Yes, just in, yeah.
Oh, here's something I can search this. More spray paint and a battery. Good. Wait a minute. No, take it. Take it all. So if you've played adventure games, you're kind of familiar with the basic mechanics of this. I gotta warn you, it's scary, but I think teenagers will really like this. Michael loves scary games like Five Nights at Freddy's. Things jump out at you. This is a little bit more sophisticated, a little more involving. Medical Station Junction. Oh, I feel like there's something gonna happen here. Raiders. Oh, see, every once in a while I channel the past.
Ooh, what's going on there?
I don't know.
It's like an old episode of ER.
Yeah. Where's George Clooney when you need him?
Exactly.
Okay, this is Lost Within. You're lost within an asylum. $7. But I think a lot of fun. Amazon Studios, I think they've done a great job. This is easily the scariest game I've ever played on the iPad.
Is that Hillary Clinton in there?
Yeah, that's one of the things that's scary. No.
Oh, well,
She's an administrator.
I love how different our two games were.
Yeah. Yours is a toe tapping thrill a minute, clock searching maze game.
Yeah.
Mine's a scarifying, terrifying, creepiest game ever made for the iPad.
Yes.
And 2 thumbs up. Thank you, Megan Morrone.
Thank you. So people can write to us.
I wish they would. iPad today at twit.tv. Leave us a voicemail. We really like that. What's that number?
I do.
Maybe we should make that the end of the show.
Yes. I don't know what this number is. Does anyone know what this number is?
I'm going to make a piece of paper. We'll put it right there.
Yeah, I haven't, no. It's on the, yeah.
Leave us a voicemail at a number to be determined later.
Yes.
Why don't we need to change that voicemail anyway?
The outgoing message?
Outgoing message
Yes.
should be your voice.
Yeah.
You can also, if you would, we'd love this. If you do leave us a voicemail, by the way, keep it 30 seconds, first name and city only, just like our caller did. He did a great job. If you want to put a video on YouTube with a question or a comment or suggestion, that's great. Again, keep it to 30 seconds and just email the link to iPad Today at twit.tv. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and we'll see you next week at this same time
Same place.
on iPad Today.
Thanks for coming.